All right, so just to follow up on a couple conversations we've had about some blues. First part of that, I think, was kind of an E chord, just kind of playing with an E chord by hitting the root of the chord, having an open G string, which is a minor third to a major third, and then hitting the first string. You also hit the second string, it's part of the chord. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, just kind of work that E chord and understand what you're doing. Root, minor to major third, and then root again, and the B string is the fifth of E, so that's the 5, and it can be played too. And if nothing else, just kind of start with a boom. So root, minor to major. And just kind of work it. Doesn't have to be super fast. When it is super fast, you'll recognize it. Kind of a chicken picking kind of thingy. Which I added a note, but is part of what I'm just talking about. Anyway, enough about the E chord, but work on it and have some fun with it, really, because there's a lot to do with just playing with an E chord. Another thing we talked about was this slide lick. And how to do that and what it is. And what it is you're putting your index finger on the flat 7 of the key. So if it was an A, you take your minor pentatonic, the flat 7 on the second string, and you're putting your index there, but we're in E, so. And then your middle finger goes on the 5th, which is this shape, and your middle finger on the G string. And that gives you the flat 7 and the 5 of E. There again, if you're in a closed position. Same thing. I go to the flat 7, put my index there, and my middle finger on the 5th. I know it's the 5th because I already know the shape, and But from the root, there's your 5th. So it's open, so it can be just those two strings, and you slide up to it from a half step back. So the landing point or the target notes is here, and your index being on the dot on the second string. That's where your target notes are. So you're sliding up to it, and then you're hitting it twice, which is a triplet. And you can hit just the second and third string. You can just add in the first string with it, either on purpose or by accident. It doesn't even matter. It's just available because you're in E. So it's triplets, triplet, triplet, triplet. Half step behind, slide up to it. And that's just a lick to work on all by itself. Eventually, if you can add some droning in an open key, what you want to do is be down a half step from your target notes. So you're starting there, and you pluck at least those two strings, and you downstroke the E string at the same time and slide into your lick. And you want to be able to repeat it so that your root is on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you do that. As far as playing it in an actual song or doing a 12-bar blues, It's going to vary by song and where you're putting it in, but you can just do it 3 or 4 times. Don't worry about the ending of the second part of that, just get this first part. Not even that, I keep doing the ending and I shouldn't. Just the lick. That's the lick. What else did we talk about? Of course, now I've forgotten a little bit. One thing I can say though, since we're working on some basic blues, as you know, most of them start out with a turnaround, and the easiest one is right out of your minor pentatonic. Is so if you're in A, it would be on this second dot fret. You're gonna think of your minor pentatonic where your flat 7 is, and it goes flat 7, 1, flat 7. So flat 7, 1, flat 7. And then 6, which is not technically in your minor pentatonic, but it's there because a flat 7 and 6 is just below a flat 7. It's a whole step below a major 7. So 7, 1, 7, 6, 1, 6, flat 6 or sharp 5, and then repeat. And then just a 1 stroke of the 5 and the 1. And what you want to be able to do to finish that is add in the going to the 5, which is how the turnaround ends on the 5. And if you're in A, you just want to walk to it. So you got then you want to add your dominant 7 chord that every guitar player loves. And so you get then you would just go to your 1 chord. If you're in A, it'd be A. But don't worry about all that. So work on that turnaround. It's a good one to know, and it leads to licks. And I'm trying to make one up and not being in the moment, but they're there, trust me. So you can use that turnaround in different ways to have fun with it. So you got your E chord, your lick, and your turnaround. And then you're working, I think, on the so kind of get in the blues and get those 2 things, you know, these 3 things on this lesson down, and then get that other lesson kind of in your bag, if you will. And we can kind of just make sure that you get it, that you own it. And if you went to a gig, you could sit in and do those things and be good at those things and really good at them. And to end it, to kind of show you how the blues is about the feeling and why it takes guys so long, and very few white guys can do even some of the things that I can do with blues. But if you want to work on a lick that's going to take you about 10 years, you know, this is a good one to work on. And think of your minor pentatonic, but you're going to throw in the 6. So it's 5, 6, 1, and then 9, which is not technically in that shape, but it's in the scale. So 5, 6, 1, bend the 9, stop it, and go back to the 1. And it's just any key if you're in C. But just that first part of the lick. And there again, if you know where it's at, if you're in E. So something to work on. It's frustrating, you won't make it happen, but just remember 5, 6, 1, 9, and you bend it up, stop it, then play the 1. A lot of places to go from there. So work on that, have fun with it.